In September 2014, a former English teacher from China rang the opening bell of the New York Stock Exchange. That man was Jack Ma, and he had just led his company, Alibaba, to the largest IPO in American history, raising $21.8 billion. Overnight, Jack Ma became the richest person in China with an estimated $25 billion net worth. Not bad for someone who once earned just $12 a month as a humble teacher. Jack Ma's journey from rags to riches is nothing short of extraordinary. But Jack didn't start out successful. Far from it. Jack Ma was born Ma Yun in 1964 in the city of Hangzhou, China, at a time when the country was poor and isolated from the Western world. His family didn't have much money, and as a boy, Jack was scrawny and got into fights. "I was never afraid of opponents who were bigger than I," he later recalled with a proud grin. He had quirky hobbies too. He even collected crickets and could tell their size just by the sounds they made, a sign of his sharp attention to detail. From a young age, Jack was curious, determined, and a bit fearless. In the 1970s, an interesting opportunity came knocking. After US President Richard Nixon visited Jack's hometown of Hangzhou in 1972, the city became a tourist hotspot. Teenage Jack saw this as a chance to learn English. He would wake up before dawn and ride his bicycle 27 kilometers every morning to the main hotel, just to give free tours to foreign tourists in exchange for English practice. For 9 years, he did this daily routine. Talk about dedication. Those interactions opened his mind to the world beyond China. In fact, it was an American tourist who first started calling him Jack because his Chinese name was hard to pronounce. The nickname stuck, and that's how Ma Yun became Jack Ma. Jack believed education was his way up from hardship, but he struggled academically, especially with math. He failed the college entrance exam twice. Math was his weak point. Many people would have given up, but not Jack. On his third try, he finally passed and got into Hangzhou Teachers College in 1984. He chose to major in English and proved to be a quick learner once in college, graduating in 1988 with a bachelor's degree in English. Armed with that degree, Jack was assigned to teach English at a local university. He was a natural teacher and loved his students. But his salary was only about $12 a month. Even in late 1980s China, $12 was a very modest income. Jack Ma was rich in knowledge and passion, but very poor in pocket. If you are enjoying this video, hit the subscribe button for more weekly stories like these. Now, after graduation, Jack also desperately tried to find a better job, but faced rejection after rejection. In fact, he later joked that he applied for 31 different jobs and got turned down every time. Yes, every single one. One anecdote he often shares is about KFC coming to his city. 24 people went for the job. 23 were accepted. I was the only guy rejected. Even the police turned him down. No one would hire Jack. And if that wasn't enough rejection, he even tried applying to Harvard University 10 times and got 10 rejection letters. They just kept saying no. Jack has said those rejections only strengthened his resolve. He told himself, "Someday I will go and teach there." That's right. He turned his Harvard heartbreak into motivation, imagining he might return as an invited teacher rather than a student. Through all these setbacks, Jack learned to embrace failure as a learning experience. So, with few options left, Jack stuck with the job that did want him: teaching English. He taught at the local Hangzhou Dianzi University and was well liked by students. He even started a little side business, a translation agency, to make extra money. For a few years, it seemed he might live a quiet life as a school teacher and small-time entrepreneur. But Jack Ma always had big dreams. He kept his eye on opportunities beyond the classroom. The mid-1990s brought that opportunity. In 1995, Jack Ma went on a trip to the United States to help with a business translation for a trade delegation. And it was on this trip that Jack encountered the internet for the very first time. Imagine, he'd never used a computer before, and now suddenly he's seeing the World Wide Web in action. Jack was amazed. He typed in a simple search query, beer, to see what came up. Results popped up for beer from many countries, but to Jack's surprise, none from China. Curious, he searched for general information about China, and again, nothing. The internet had almost no presence of China in those days. In that moment, Jack saw a huge opportunity. Jack and his friends decided to make a simple website about China, essentially an online directory of Chinese businesses. He called it China Pages. By Jack's own admission, it was a very ugly web page, but it was groundbreaking. After they launched the site, Jack received emails from people around the world saying, "Wow, this is the first time we've seen a Chinese website." This validation lit a fire in Jack's heart. He returned to China hooked on the possibilities of the internet. By 1995, Jack quit teaching to focus on his new passion. He officially founded China Pages as one of China's first internet companies. The idea was to help local businesses create an online presence and attract overseas customers. Jack was an internet entrepreneur now, one of the very first in China. But being a pioneer isn't easy. The venture had serious challenges. For one, very few people in China even knew what the internet was. Jack had to convince businesses why a website mattered, and competition arose quickly. The state-owned telecom company in Hangzhou launched a rival service, and with their government backing, effectively squeezed China Pages out of the market. After 2 tough years, Jack had to let China Pages go. It was essentially a failure, and Jack even lost control of the company to that powerful competitor. But he didn't regret it. He had learned invaluable lessons about doing business in the emerging internet space. In 1997, looking for his next move, Jack accepted a job in Beijing with a government organization. He joined an online commerce department under China's Ministry of Foreign Trade. In that late 90s period, the Chinese government was just starting to explore e-commerce, and Jack was right there, helping build websites for them. It was a stable, respectable job, a government job, but Jack felt restless. He realized that if he stayed a mere government employee, he might miss out on the real revolution of the internet. In early 1999, Jack Ma made a gutsy decision. He quit his secure job, packed up his ideas, and went back to Hangzhou to start a new company, one that would become his destiny. Jack gathered a group of friends and former colleagues, 17 people in total, in his small apartment in Hangzhou. He stood in front of them, passionately pitching his vision for a new kind of online marketplace. He told them the internet was going to change everything, and China had to be part of it. He wanted to create a platform where small businesses in China could connect with buyers around the world directly. To make it happen, he needed his friends to believe in him and even invest some of their own money. In that cramped apartment, with enthusiastic energy bouncing off the walls, Jack Ma won them over. They all agreed to join him. Together, in 1999, they founded Alibaba. Why the name Alibaba? As Jack tells it, he was in a coffee shop in San Francisco when inspiration struck. He thought of the folktale Alibaba and the 40 Thieves, where the magic words "Open Sesame" reveal a trove of treasure. Alibaba, a universally known name that starts with A, which would help in website listings, he joked, felt just right. It symbolized opening up treasure for small businesses. And indeed, Jack wanted Alibaba to unlock the hidden treasures of China's small enterprises and bring them to the world. In 1999, Alibaba.com went live as a business-to-business, B2B marketplace. The platform let manufacturers and entrepreneurs list their products online, and international buyers could browse and make deals. Crucially, Alibaba didn't charge the buyers anything. Instead, they made money by charging sellers membership fees for special listings and features. This was a simple but revolutionary model. Help the little guys do business globally. In the beginning, the team operated out of Jack's apartment. They were scrappy, young, and full of hope. Money was extremely tight in those early days. At one point, Jack had to borrow money just to pay the team's salaries. But they pressed on, fueled by Jack's unwavering optimism. When Alibaba finally made its first tiny profit, Jack didn't hand out bonuses. Instead, he celebrated by giving each employee a can of silly string to spray around the office in joy. Before long, Alibaba started gaining traction. Small businesses from all over China were signing up, and buyers from across the globe were coming to the site. In 1999, just months after launch, Alibaba caught the attention of major investors. Goldman Sachs invested $5 million, and Japan's SoftBank, led by Masayoshi Son, invested another $20 million into Alibaba. This was a huge deal. It gave Alibaba the fuel it needed to grow, and it was a big vote of confidence in Jack's vision. Despite the influx of funds, Jack kept the team frugal and focused. He constantly reminded everyone why they started this. "We will make it because we are young, and we never give up," he told his employees during trying times. Jack's perseverance was infectious. No obstacle was going to make them quit. Not if Jack Ma had anything to say about it. Alibaba soon expanded beyond just facilitating wholesale deals. Jack noticed the rising potential of online shopping within China. By the early 2000s, eBay had entered the Chinese market through a local partner and was dominating consumer-to-consumer e-commerce. Jack wasn't about to let a foreign company take over the nascent Chinese internet market without a fight. So in 2003, he launched Taobao.com, a customer-to-customer marketplace, to go head-to-head with eBay. Taobao, meaning searching for treasure, was like a Chinese version of eBay. Except Jack made a genius move. No transaction fees whatsoever. While eBay's platform charged people to list or sell items, Taobao was completely free. Skeptics thought this was crazy. How would Alibaba make money? But Jack had a plan. Taobao would monetize through advertising and value-added services, not by nickel-and-diming users. This strategy removed the biggest barrier for millions of mom-and-pop sellers to come online, and they flooded onto Taobao. Buyers loved it too, because obviously they preferred a marketplace with no fees. Within just a few years, Taobao overtook eBay in China. By 2007, Taobao controlled about 67% of the market, while eBay's share shrank to a distant second. Eventually, eBay pretty much conceded the Chinese market, selling off its China operations. Jack had outsmarted a global giant on his home turf. As Alibaba grew into a multifaceted empire, with Alibaba.com for B2B, Taobao for C2C, and more, Jack kept innovating. In 2003, he introduced Alipay, an online payment platform to solve the lack of trust in online transactions. Back then, people were wary of paying for goods they hadn't seen. Alipay acted as an escrow service. It held the buyer's money and only released it to the seller when the buyer confirmed receipt of goods. This built trust between strangers doing business online. Many of Jack's friends initially called Alipay the stupidest idea. They thought no one would ever trust an online payment system. But Jack's instincts were right again. Alipay took off and later grew into Ant Group, one of the world's biggest fintech companies. By solving people's problems and fears, Jack kept Alibaba one step ahead. International companies also took notice of Alibaba's success. In 2005, Yahoo invested $1 billion to buy a 40% stake in Alibaba. This was an astounding endorsement. One of Silicon Valley's giants trusted Jack Ma to be a major player in the tech world. The infusion of cash and partnership with Yahoo helped Alibaba expand further. In 2007, Alibaba took Alibaba.com, the B2B platform, public on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange, raising $1.7 billion. Alibaba Group was becoming a dominant force not just in e-commerce, but in technology, finance, logistics, you name it. All this time, Jack Ma was becoming something of a legend in China. Here was a man who started with nothing, no tech background, no money, no powerful connections, yet had built one of the most valuable companies in the nation. He was quirky, charismatic, and unabashed in his style. Unlike the stereotypical CEO in a suit, Jack would do things like dress up in wild costumes and perform skits at company events. In fact, Alibaba's company lore is full of Jack's fun antics. At one annual talent show, he got on stage in a heavy metal rock star getup, leather jacket, wild wig, and sang in front of 20,000 employees, pumping up the crowd. He even pulled off Michael Jackson dance moves at another event. His employees loved it. Their boss was not only a visionary leader, but also an entertainer at heart. This down-to-earth and fun-loving persona made Jack Ma all the more popular. By 2013, Jack decided to step back from day-to-day operations. He stepped down as CEO of Alibaba that year, appointing younger leaders to run the company, while he took the role of executive chairman to focus on long-term strategy. Alibaba was by then a well-oiled machine, and Jack was looking to the future. And the timing was impeccable, because something huge was on the horizon. September 19th, 2014. The day Alibaba went public on the New York Stock Exchange was nothing short of historic. Alibaba's IPO raised $21.8 billion and valued the company at a staggering $168 billion, making it the largest IPO ever at the time. Suddenly, the whole world knew who Jack Ma was. This former school teacher now sat atop one of the biggest e-commerce empires on the planet. Yet, when asked about the massive windfall, Jack's response was humble and philosophical. Today, what we got is not money. What we got is the trust from the people, he told reporters and investors on IPO day. To Jack, the IPO wasn't just a money-making event. It was proof that people believed in Alibaba. Customers, employees, investors, all of them. That trust was what mattered most to him, and he didn't want to let them down. Despite his own enormous personal wealth after the IPO, Jack didn't suddenly become an extravagant tycoon. In fact, friends say he hardly changed at all. I don't think he has changed much. He is still that old style, said one close friend, Xiaoping Chen. Jack still enjoyed simple hobbies. He loved reading and writing kung fu novels, playing poker with pals, meditating to clear his mind, and practicing Tai Chi. He's so passionate about Tai Chi, he even teamed up with kung fu star Jet Li to promote it, and travels with a personal Tai Chi coach. Jack did eventually splurge on one big luxury, a private jet, but that was mainly to save time traveling and, well, because he could. Otherwise, Jack Ma remained relatively grounded. He often dressed casually, cracked jokes, and kept that boyish enthusiasm in his demeanor. As Jack's fame grew, so did his influence and responsibilities. He became a bit of a global ambassador for Chinese entrepreneurship. When he spoke at conferences, crowds of young people would turn up just to hear his advice and maybe get a selfie. He was invited to global forums, from the World Economic Forum in Davos to chats with US presidents, to share his insight on business, innovation, and the future. And Jack would tell his story openly, including all the failures. He wanted to inspire others to dream big and never give up, just as he had. With Alibaba conquering the business world, Jack also turned his energies to giving back. In 2014, He established the Jack Ma Foundation, focusing on improving education, especially in rural areas, as well as supporting environmental causes and public health. Jack remembered his own humble beginnings and wanted to help the next generation, particularly those in underprivileged communities. His foundation has since built schools, funded programs for teachers, and championed women's leadership and entrepreneurship. Jack also took a seat on the board of the Nature Conservancy, reflecting his growing commitment to environmental issues. And when the COVID-19 pandemic struck in 2020, Jack Ma was quick to donate millions of masks, test kits, and medical supplies to over 150 countries. His philanthropic efforts earned him recognition as China's most charitable entrepreneur in 2020. In many ways, Jack was coming full circle, using the fruits of his success to lift others up, just as he had always promised to. Let's not forget Jack Ma's personal life amid all this. Jack is a family man. He married Zhang Ying, the woman he met back in college, and she has been by his side through every tumultuous step of this journey. In fact, Zhang Ying also became a teacher. They truly started from the same humble profession together. She once joked in an interview, "He is not a handsome man, but I fell for him because he can do a lot of things handsome men cannot do." Clearly, she saw Jack's unique talent and determination long before the world did. The couple has 2 children, and Jack has largely kept his family life private. He wanted his kids to grow up without the intense spotlight that follows him. By all accounts, he's a devoted husband and father, often crediting his wife for keeping him grounded. It's heartwarming that despite running a global company, Jack would still make time to audit his son's college classes when visiting. He loves history and reportedly sat in on history lectures at UC Berkeley, where his son studied. He's a billionaire, yes, but he's also a dad who cares about education in a very personal way. After 2 decades at the helm of Alibaba, Jack Ma began to plan his retirement from the company's leadership. On September 10, 2019, Alibaba's 20th anniversary, and fittingly Jack's own 55th birthday, Jack Ma officially stepped down as the chairman of Alibaba. And in typical Jack Ma flair, he made his farewell unforgettable. Alibaba organized a massive celebration in a stadium holding 80,000 people. It felt like a mix of a rock concert and a tribute show. Jack himself took to the stage dressed as a rock star, complete with a guitar and a spiky wig. He and his executives performed songs. Even co-founder Joe Tsai got on stage in a blonde wig and Marilyn Monroe dress for a comedy bit. The crowd went wild. There were choreographed dances, performances representing Alibaba's journey, and heartfelt speeches. At one point, Jack got emotional, tearing up as employees sang songs of gratitude, prompting the Chinese social media to buzz with the news that Jack Ma cried. It was a touching moment, a testament to how much Alibaba had become a family to him. "After tonight, I will start a new life," Jack told the gathering, explaining that he was stepping away to pursue new dreams and also to devote more time to philanthropy and education. It was a victorious and proud exit, celebrated by tens of thousands who owed him so much inspiration. Jack Ma left the big stage of Alibaba with a guitar in his hands, a smile on his face, and undoubtedly a tear in his eye. He had proven what he set out to prove. Today, Jack Ma's story is already the stuff of legend. From being a poor, skinny kid in Hangzhou who couldn't get a job at KFC to becoming one of the world's most influential business figures, Jack Ma embodies the triumph of perseverance and vision. He often says his life story is a lesson in never giving up. One of Jack's favorite films is Forrest Gump because he admires the character's simplicity and determination. Jack's own motto echoes that ethos. "If you don't give up, you still have a chance," he likes to say, meaning that the only real failure is when you stop trying. His most famous quote perhaps puts it best: "Today is hard, tomorrow will be worse, but the day after tomorrow will be sunshine." Jack Ma lived through many hard todays and worse tomorrows, but he never lost sight of that coming sunshine. And in the end, this former school teacher turned billionaire has not only found his own sunshine, he's become a beacon of hope for millions who dream of achieving something great against all odds.
Subscribe to Wealth Bucket TV for more.